You're watching NBC6's Sharks Up Close special. I'm Chris Hush. Today we dive into the world of one of the top predators of the sea. They're mysterious, misunderstood, and often portrayed as monsters. Meanwhile, researchers revere these majestic creatures and work to protect them and their image. And while sharks are at the top of the food chain, they are also preyed on by humans. Recently, I went on a journey with a local group that goes to great lengths to save sharks from a cruel black market. Tucked away in a state park at the very edge of North Ocean Drive in Dania Beach, is Nova Southeastern University's Guy Harvey Oceanographic Center, the launching point of one of the most important missions students are embarking on.
Hey everybody, how are we doing today? Good. Hi, that's what I'm talking about. Welcome, welcome. My name is Derek Burkholder. I'm a research scientist here at Nova Southeastern University.
Derek Burkholder is part of a team of research scientists taking students about 1.5 miles off the South Florida coast every month.
We're getting kids out here that maybe have lived their entire lives in South Florida. Many of them have certainly never been on a boat.
With the focus on one of the most misunderstood aquatic animals on our planet.
You know, what we're out here trying to do is break the stigma around sharks. Things like Jaws and some of those kind of movies have created this stigma around sharks, that they're these terrible, nasty creatures.
No other fish in the sea carries the burden of a narrative that is killing sharks by the millions.
100 million sharks are being removed every single year. They're incredibly important in these ecosystems. They're sort of the top predators out here, many of them, so they help balance our marine ecosystems.
Most sharks don't reproduce until they reach a mature 10 to 15 years of age. For perspective, compare it to the lionfish, an invasive species that can produce 30,000 eggs every 4 days. Simply put, the ratio of sharks being removed from our oceans to the amount being reproduced is now severely off balance, causing sharks to be more endangered today than ever before in human history.
So the misconception that sharks are human eaters is just it's completely wrong. It's erroneous, and the consequence of that has been that sharks have been indiscriminately fished.
Dr. Mahmoud Shivji is part of the NSU team that has tagged more than 500 sharks with tracking devices that help study population sizes, migratory patterns, and other behaviors, attempting to reverse this trend.
The fins are so valuable and so much more valuable than the meat. A bowl can be worth a few $100s.
A bowl of soup.
It depends on the species. If the species is rare.
How do we stop this if it's so valuable like that?
So that's the challenge, right? You've got these market conditions that are creating a demand.
NSU's researchers found more than 70 million sharks are killed each year just for their fins. The Save Our Seas Foundation, where Dr. Shivji serves as director, has documented the travesty of this inhumane trade.
They just cut the fins off while the shark is alive. And they cut all the fins off, and they keep the fins, and they throw the still living shark back into the ocean. The skin has been taken off the fin, and what you're left with underneath is this thing. This is what it looks like. And you see these fibers? This is what's valuable. And when this is wet, these fibers will peel off. Shark finning is illegal in the United States and in Canada and in Australia.
But is it enforceable?
So these laws are great. They have made an impact, but is it 100% enforceable? It's not.
This group of NSU students has come out here to help tag sharks as part of a massive conservation effort.
So everything that we do, we want to minimize the stress and impact on these animals that we're working with. We are using hooks, we are going to catch them. It starts off with this guy right here. It's about a 50-pound weight. We've got our float line. It's going to get one of these big orange buoys. We run a 900-pound test model filament, so a very strong fishing line.
1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2. So we're going to do 5 right here, but I may have to interchange.
After splitting up into groups, each student
Straight in, down, down, down. And rotate out through the skin. Yep, all the way through so the barb sticks out.
will help lay 10 drum lines.
It's a double luckfish. That was so good.
That will soak in the Atlantic Ocean up to 100 feet below the surface. It can be an incredibly long process, lasting up to 8 hours just to catch one shark for tagging. But the reward could change the trajectory for sharks.
Now it's a big ocean. These are big animals that can travel thousands of miles. In fact, they do travel thousands of miles. But you can't follow them. So this is the only way to figure out where they're spending their time, and then you look to see how much overlap there is between where they're spending their time and commercial fishing effort. We attach this to that fin, like that.
There are several different tagging devices, like this $4,000 tag, which utilizes satellites.
Every time the shark swims close to the surface and this tag is exposed and the antenna is out of the water, it sends a signal to orbiting satellites.
Then there is the PAT tag. Think of it as a mini computer programmed to detach from the shark after just 1 year and float to the surface.
It collects, it measures the environmental parameters. It measures light, it measures temperature, it measures depth, and it archives it all in a chip.
But in South Florida, researchers mainly use a much more cost-effective plastic tag. At just 50 cents, these tags are attached to fins with the research center's contact information printed on them so that divers and fishermen can report the sightings.
And with recaptures over time, you can look at movement patterns, maybe growth rates.
Together, these tags have revealed
valuable information about the behavior of the sharks, how many are being captured, where they're being captured,
and eye-opening findings.
That the populations of great hammerheads are so small that they are interbreeding now. And so there's not much genetic diversity or genetic variation left, which is extremely unhealthy.
This information sent to policymakers to enact protective laws. Getting a shark to tag
We got nothing.
requires patience. In these waters off Fort Lauderdale Beach, smaller nurse sharks are the usual get. The tagging fairly quick, considering the long waiting period, hoping for a bite. The impact already being made could help the shark population rebound. This live map showing just how many sharks are now being tracked thanks to tagging efforts like this one. And every mission is another shark closer to saving them.
It's really to try to change the way people think about sharks.
But how can these scientists really change the way people think about sharks when it feels like there are so many encounters, sometimes with tragic endings?
One, there's a lot more people in the water, and there's also a lot more cameras around, but they are so incredibly rare. It's just the fact that every single one of them gets picked up and blown up and shown everywhere.
They become advocates for us.
After all, when we step into these waters, we step into their house. But it's missions like this that can change that narrative. One tag and one student at a time. Coming up next, submerged and up close, NBC goes underwater to better understand the impact sharks have on the ocean.